Hello everyone. Now for those of you that aren't in the Facebook group, FYM The Gathering, I posted a little post a couple of days ago. And I do enjoy doing these Q&A things. I get asked quite a lot of time about different questions and things like that. So I thought it'd be cool for you guys to just put a little something out there for those of you that are interested. Now, before I get into the questions which we'll put out on there, I don't want to leave you YouTube guys out that are, if you know you're out on Facebook or you're not in the group for one reason or another. One thing I get asked frequently is where I'm from. Now I will have said this in the previous video, but for those of you who haven't seen it, I'll go back into that for you. So I live in a little city called Lancaster, which is in the UK. For those of you who don't know where Lancaster is, easiest way is to say, if you know where Manchester is, it's about an hour on the train from there. Everyone's like, oh, do you know Manchester? Yeah, it's Lancaster, near Manchester. Well, I am 33. I've been doing this now for about what? It was February when we started, so it's been going at it. It's soon be coming up to a year once we get into 2019, man. But it's been a crazy ride. One thing I do also get asked a lot is, do I charge, or what are the sort of terms and conditions for getting videos on the channel? Absolutely no charge whatsoever. I just do this purely for the love of music. Don't charge anything whatsoever. Do have a Patreon page and PayPal for those of you that do want to donate. Leave all the details below. But that's not primarily what I started the channel out for at all. It's just cool to be able to discover so much music on here. In terms of equipment that I use, for those of you that are interested, which I do get asked every now and again, it does pop up. And the equipment has changed quite a bit from when I first started. I mean, literally when I first started, I was literally using my phone, and there was like an old Rock Band microphone from the Xbox, which I literally just hooked up into the USB on the computer. So that wasn't a professional operation whatsoever, but it did the job to get started. But currently, obviously we've got the Blue Yeti mic, which is absolutely awesome. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made. I cannot fault this at all. If anyone's looking into starting YouTube, my recommendations would either be go with the Blue Yeti, or you do get a lot of people that do use the Blue Snowball. It's kind of like a mini version of this. Doesn't have quite as much functionality to it, but it still does a damn good job. In terms of camera that I use the Logitech Brio, which does do up to 4K, but OBS doesn't seem to cope so well with 4K. Currently I have it just set on 1080p at 30 frames per second. Can do it at 60, but it just makes you look ugly as fuck. Basically, so unless you're blessed with looking like an absolute model, 60 frames per second is not going to be the good option for you. I literally just do it all through my PC. Headphones, the Parrot Zik. These are absolutely awesome. That's exactly what I use, as you'll see in all of the videos. The sound quality on them is fantastic, and the bonus with it is you can actually hook it up to the mic just through your normal headphone cable, and that way I get to hear the audio come through as well. And I like to be able to hear my voice when I'm doing, because otherwise I noticed when I wasn't doing it that way, I'd just end up shouting quite loud. Because you can't really tell the volume that you're speaking at because of the noise isolation on it. I do have two softboxes, which I always have in front of me, which I'll show you actually, because you guys never really get to see this. This is why honestly, if you're using a webcam, you need professional lighting. If you want the best picture, you will plug a webcam in and be like, this looks a bit shit, and it's all down to your lighting. But as you'll see, I have got two big bright soft boxes right in front of me there. So that is those were, I think I paid about £40 for them on Amazon. They're an absolute bargain, man. If you're starting a channel, you need some soft boxes or some form of lighting in front of you. That's pretty much it really with the setup. I don't edit whatsoever. Every now and again I will occasionally, but I literally just use OBS. I've got quite a few filters on the microphone, so it basically blocks out a little bit of noise, because where I am, it's right on a it's sort of like on the main road. You might be. I'll show you actually. So if we turn you around, you'll see. Don't know if you'll quite be able to make. Yeah, you can't really see because of the light, but it's quite a busy sort of street where I am, and that's why I have to use quite a lot of noise reduction on the audio itself. But that's the main things you usually get asked on YouTube. We'll get into the Facebook questions, man. So these were everyone that's the members of the FYM FYM the Gathering. These are all the questions which I got asked. So let's get through them. Give you all a shout. Thank you very much, everyone, for contributing. Now, this first one comes from Raquel Moore, who she's quite new into the Facebook group, but I've known her quite a bit through the Truant group. Big shout out to Truant. If it wasn't for the Truant Reacts channel, Move Your Fucking Head crew, I wouldn't be doing this, which I'll get into. Anyway, so she asked me what my favourite childhood memory is. For me, it's hard to pinpoint just one. I was very lucky in the fact that I did get to go on quite a lot of holidays when I was growing up, because I grew up with my grandparents. I had to think of one place where I went to that I absolutely loved with them. It would probably have to be Tenerife or Fuengirola. Like when I went to Fuengirola, I think we went twice, and that was really cool because back then I used to rollerblade quite a lot, and they have like this massive prom that's super smooth surface that you can go down. I was never big into the aggressive skating. I just liked riding about on them, and that was always cool going down. So yeah, probably that one. Other than that, the holiday that I went on in Tenerife, that was really cool purely because I think I had to be about 15, 16, and I was at that age where they were quite happy to just let me, well, I say let me do what I want. I wasn't really supposed to venture that far out of the hotel, but I did, man. Went into like the next town. I'd be going out drinking. They just didn't give a shit back then. You'd go to a bar and they'd invite you in, and I'd have like a bunch of people that I'd met on holiday, and they'd be like, how old are your friends? I was like, dude, they're only like 14, 15. They're like, it's fine. Come in, get drunk. So that was cool. Raquel also asks me, how do I make my tea in a pot or cup, strong or weak? How many sugars? And please don't say you put the milk in first. I don't put the milk in first. If you put the milk into a brew first, you just want castrating, basically. So I don't really drink that much tea. It's always generally coffee. Always make the coffee in a cup. I have it sort of, it's somewhere in, it's not weak, but it's not strong, somewhere in between. And I usually have about 2 sugars with it. Although I'm terrible, I don't use a teaspoon. I'll literally just grab the sugar pot and just go and put it all in that way, which is probably really, really bad for my sugar intake. But in terms of worrying about what I'm putting and like how much I'm eating, like I've got a stupid metabolism. So basically I've been the same weight for like since I was like 16, give or take like half a stone. So generally I'm always somewhere in between 10 and 11 stone, which is why I'm just skinny as fuck, man. Well, I'm not that skinny, but you know. She also asks me, what's my favourite and least favourite quality in a person? One thing I like is somebody that, certainly in terms of that I meet in my day-to-day life, that you can quite openly have a conversation with. Not some, I can't stand it when you get people that just butt in all the time and that you don't get to sort of put your opinion across. So for me, anyone that's open-minded and also has a really good sense of humour. I try not to take myself too seriously at times. But a good sense of humour is massive for me. And 9 times out of 10, if you're into rock or metal, I'll usually get on with you. And one thing I can't stand in people is those people you'll get from time to time. They sort of like talk down to you. And I don't know why some people do that. You know, they essentially are on the same level as you, but you'll always get some people that are like that, sort of think that they're above you for some reason. And I really don't know why they do that. But thank you very much for your questions, Raquel. Really cool to see you in the group. Now, a singer from my band, Prometheum, now Steve Graham, asks me, how many goats does it take to change a light bulb? I have no idea, man. I literally just saw a video this morning of a goat managed to get its horns stuck on a power line and it was just hanging there. So if it was one of that type of goat, man, you could get 100 of them and they still wouldn't have a fucking clue. They'd just end up hanging off it. For anyone that doesn't know, like in our band, we have this weird joke thing we make about goats all the time. We'll arrive around to do rehearsal and be like, "Hello, Kevin, you have got." We've got this weird like non-Russian accent which everyone does. Well, I say everyone, not all of us do it, but certainly me, Steve, and Dan certainly enjoy it. We're absolute children, man. It's hilarious. Now, one of my best friends, Anthony Ashton, asks, dude, you're a bastard for doing this. He says, if I post a few embarrassing photos of you, will you pick which one is best for a flag for Download Festival? The thing is, I know exactly what pictures he's on about here. I'll certainly consider it, dude, if you want to send them across to me. That'd be funny. You guys won't even have a clue what he's on about. Let's just say there's been the odd time when I've had a little bit too many beers over the years and certain pictures have been taken. We'll just leave it at that, hey. Now, speaking of my band, Dan, one of our guitarists, asks me, which member of Prometheum would you make love to and why? You know what? If I had to, it'd probably have to be you, Dan, because I just absolutely love to ruin you, and knowing the fact that it would just absolutely scar you for life would be quite funny, really. You know, I love you, man. Cheers, Dan, for that. So, one of the original members of the group, Cheryl Torkington. These questions are difficult. So, which of the Bee Gees do you like best and why? You know what? I couldn't even name them, Cheryl. Probably the singer, I suppose. I find his voice quite funny. The fact that voice can come out of someone is just hilarious to me. No offense to anyone that likes the Bee Gees, man. It's just not my cup of tea. She also asks me, who is my favourite American band? Man, that is so difficult. There's so many. If I had to sort of generalize it of bands that I've listened to over the years that I listen to the most out of all of the American bands, I'm going to give you two. I'm going to give you one of my original first loves in music, which would be Creed. I absolutely adore Creed. I listen to their albums all the time. I know they get a lot of hate, but I think they just write amazing songs. Whether or not people think that, you know, originally Scott Stapp was just essentially trying to portray himself as God. I just think that they were an absolutely amazing band. I hope they do another album actually, because they were absolutely fantastic. And then in terms of sort of what I'd class as the new core, I'd say one of my favourite American bands would have to be As I Lay Dying. Ever since I discovered them through a friend of mine about 6-7 years ago, just absolutely loved everything they've done. And obviously when they made the welcome return with My Own Grave, that was just amazing, and I can't wait to see what their new album brings in terms of that. Now, Cheryl also asked me, what would your dance on the Soul Train look like? And she asked me to do a little dance for this. I literally have no idea. It'd be something like that. I've literally got a song in my head going that, lean on me when you're alone. There you go, Cheryl. Thank you for making me feel really fucking awkward. Okay, let's have a look what else we've got here. I've just got a bunch of people commenting on that now. I'm just checking I've not missed any questions. So, I'm going to do my best to pronounce your surname here, dude. Damien Kamisiak asked me, what pushed you to start making the channel? Now, basically, back in, let's see, if I started the channel in February, it would have been the previous September, maybe, that I randomly came across the FYM Reacts channel. And I'd never really thought of even doing anything like that. Excuse me. But I remember there was a post that Truant put out once, and it said that, you know, people are always like, oh, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this song? You should do this song. Why don't you ever do it? And he basically said, you know, nothing's stopping anyone else starting up a channel if they want to do it. And he was like, I'll be the first person to support you. Now, good friend of mine that I got chatting with from that from the Truant group was Aaron Bailey, who now has the channel AMB Reacts. Big shout out to him. Go and check out his channel if you haven't. I'll post his link in the description. So he'd started a channel, did his first video, watched it, and I was like, you know what? I fancy having a bash at that. It looks like it could be fun. Plus, I knew that I wouldn't be one of those people that do reactions and just sort of sits there. I knew there was no way I could sit still, and I'd just be constantly like getting my fucking mosh on with it. So I made my first video, dropped Aaron a message, and I just said that after seeing him start up his channel, after we both watched the Truant channel, you know, that sort of gave me a little bit of confidence to try and do it. So that's what essentially got me starting it. In terms of reasoning behind it, as well as it just being a bit of fun, I wanted to be able to discover a lot more new music that I was struggling to sort of come across, because I'd always be looking for new bands. Like, I might go on YouTube and type in like metalcore 2018, because that's generally the sort of music that I always listen to. And I always seem to get to a point where I'd find these bands, but they were amazing songs, but they're bands that have disbanded, not even going anymore. And I was like, how am I going to find all these new bands without trawling through a ton of groups and be like, is that any good? No, no, no. Oh, there's a good one. So I then wanted to start doing band submissions. I know you get quite one or two channels that they'll feature new bands, but they'll just do it as an odd feature. I mean, Truant, for instance, he always used to do it on, like, I think he did it like one day a week. It was usually on a Sunday. But then after starting the channel up and featuring like one or two sort of like bigger names, I thought it'd be really cool to actually sort of make that my channel's primary focus, to like promote new bands. Like, granted, you can post like an Architects song and get like, you know, 3,000 views, which are going to bring a ton of people to your channel. But for me, I would much rather like primarily feature the smaller bands and then maybe get a few hundred hits. I mean, obviously over time the channel grows, it's going to get more and more hits, but for me it's always been about promoting the smaller artists. Like, being in a band myself, it means so much to just be able to get even one more person onto your song. Just like, for instance, someone sharing your song on Facebook, but if someone's doing a video, then it can go out to so many more people. I always find I enjoy watching videos more than just listening to the audio itself, unless I really, really love the band, but that's where that comes from. Now, Damien also asked me, what's your best and worst track you've reacted to? That's really hard, man. There is a ton of best ones. If I had to go with one that I go back to constantly, it would have to be a song called Hollow by a solo artist, Colden Gray. He's an Australian guy that submitted to me, and it's absolutely awesome. Puts me right in the feels, and I love it. Worst ones, that's not really something I want to say, man. There's not really. I can't say there's anything that I've had that I can say this is the worst thing I've ever heard, purely because of the way that I look at music. Like, I mean, somebody asked, like, friend Matthew yesterday asked me if I'd checked out the new Ice Nine Kills, and for me, Ice Nine Kills aren't really a band that they're not really my cup of tea. So I don't. Sometimes it's not appropriate for me to review something that I can't give a real review to. It'd be like somebody sending me the new fucking One Direction song, man. There's no point in me doing a reaction and reviewing it, because I'm already gonna, it's not in my genre. It's not the sort of music which I enjoy. And although I will listen to lots of different genres, I can tell you now with pop music, 99% of it I'm just gonna hate. So there's no point in me doing it. And I always try and be as positive as I can about everything that we put on the channel. There's been, you know, there might be the odd band or something, you know, they might be just starting out. Production quality might not be there, but I still always look for the good in it, because we all have to start somewhere, man. I remember the stuff that I used to put out, like in early bands that I started being in, and when I listen back to it now, you're like, man, what the fuck were you playing there? Like, that's nice. But you know, everybody has to start somewhere. So he also asked me, what's the other instrument you want to learn to play different than guitar? Wouldn't be an instrument, you know, man. I'd love to be able to sing. I have started trying to do some like vocal lessons and things, just like from watching YouTube videos, because I'd love to be able to do a really nice clean, not even to do it in a band, just for my own personal enjoyment. If I had to be anything other than vocals, an instrument that I'd want to learn, it's really tricky, man. I can't really say there is anything. It'd just be literally guitar or singing. He also asked me, do I like how the channel has grown? Absolutely, man. Like, I remember I came across one of the old videos the other day, because someone asked me about doing a Caliban track, and I was like, I'm sure we've done one. So I went and had a look back, watched the video through, and I remember in this video I was saying, you know, thanks to the 300 subscribers we've got, and to think that we were once at 300 and now we're like whatever it is, over 2,000 or something now is insane. But yeah, the whole YouTube growth is just crazy. The fact that I've got that many people that believe in it to watch the videos is awesome. So, you know, thank you to everyone that is a part of that. I massively appreciate it, like you wouldn't believe. Now, he also asked, do I like how the gathering has grown? So that refers to the Facebook group. It's so cool, man. Well, I mean, what are we at now? Let me see. I can't actually. Oh, so we've got 462 members. I never thought we'd even get to 100, man. So to say that many people have joined is amazing, and it's really cool to see that a lot of people from bands that we feature then come and join the group. I really like that. It's the prime place really where I'll discover a lot of the music which I do. I don't always have the chance to be able to feature everything that people post in there, so I'll always have to ask them, do you want it done as a video, or do you just literally want me to have a listen to it? Because otherwise I've been making like request lists for years, man. The standard request list that isn't band submissions is already at like 300-400 requests or something. So if anyone's watching like he's still not done that, that's why, man, because there's so much in there, and I get that much from other bands that I sort of have to give them the sort of prime, they sort of come at the top before anything else. But I will still put requests and new tracks in as they come out. What's my favourite album from this year? Oh, it would have to be the Dream State. That one, man. Dream State EP, Recovery. It's fantastic. It's an absolute thing of beauty, in my opinion. I love CJ's vocals. I love the music that all of the guys put out in it, and from they've grown from like nothing to what they, you know, they're so close to just being like a general household band name, I would say. Absolutely love it. And my favourite track from that album EP, it's got to be New Waves. Originally it was White Lies, but then when New Waves was released, I thought it was brilliant. I think that'll help an awful lot of people, and I think that's one thing that's really cool about them. They're not just about putting out cool songs, they're about, you know, if you're going through a tough time, just put one of the songs on, and if it helps you in any way, you know, that's cool. That's certainly what I get from it. Let's have a look. He's got quite a few questions here for me. Asked, how many and which shows do you go to? Now, where I work, it's like a pub / venue, and we usually have at least 2 different shows on a week, sometimes 3. So I generally go to at least 1 show a week. I mean, you've got like here, man, we've had like all of these bands, Let's Kill Achilles, Death Remains, My Boys in Passengers, Ventures, Citadels, Tenements. We've had Loathe there. So many. We are the catalyst. There's been an awful lot over the years. In terms of sort of bigger shows that I go to, I'd probably say it's usually about maybe 4 or 5 a year. I would love to get out to more, but it means travelling to Manchester, and then we usually have to get a hotel overnight when me and my buddy go. So it's all about money, man. But I do try and get out to see like the bigger bands as often as I can. I say bigger bands, I'm talking, you know, like Heart of a Coward, Dream State, bands like that. So yeah. Which was my favourite? So in terms of shows that I've been to, it's probably it's a really tough one, but it's either gonna be Ghost Fest from 2015 when Hatebreed headlined it along with Heart of a Coward and Despised Icon. That was amazing. Like, it was a crazy hardcore show as well, so you can imagine how violent those pits were. Other than that one, it's gonna be between Fight Stars, when Fight Star toured Behind the Devil's Back. That was amazing. And the Final Funeral for a Friend tour, that was just, it was like a spiritual experience. It was weird. The emotion in there was just insane. It's hard for me to just pick out one, man. There's been so many over the years. Have I got any regrets this year? I don't really like to regret anything. I like to think that I do everything for a reason and it's all part of the bigger picture. I'd say the one regret, I suppose if I have to say anything, it would be when I purchased I used to use a digital camera rather than webcam. And that was all down to inexperience, man, because I wasn't aware that it would make it so much easier by using a webcam. So yeah, that's probably that. There's one or two things I've done in terms of work changes this year. I've gone from one job to another because one job's promising something that the other one doesn't. And there's maybe one in there that maybe I wish, you know what, maybe I would have wished to stuck it out a little bit. But you know, I've got positive things from every change that I've made this year. So yeah, there's always an upside to any regrets, I suppose, with me. What's the most positive thing I've experienced this year? Probably just all the positiveness that I get from this channel. It's enabled me to speak to so many different people. And I've created some great friendships with some really, really cool people from all over the world who I do chat with frequently. So that's got to be that. And then he says, do me a favour and sing something from H, being hacktivist. It'd have to be a line from song called, I'm not going to say the word, N in Paris. There's a line with Ben goes, what you wanna, 16 Subway? That's literally all I could think of off the top of my head. Or said the beginning of change. There you go, man. Thanks for those questions, man. So next one comes from Espen Wrong. He asked me, if I had to pick one, which would you rather be, a goat or a bowl, and why? There'll be some of you that don't get the bowl reference. I'm not even going to tell you about it, man, because it's a bit grim. Would I rather be a goat or a bowl? I'd definitely rather be a goat, man, because goats are fluffy. They get to roam around fields and just be idiots. So sounds pretty good to me. It'd have to be the goat. Goat wins on this one. Let's have a look. What else have we got? So, am I going to listen to the new Behemoth album? Asks Ben Sonny Isaac. It wasn't on my radar, man, to be honest, but I will give it a listen when I get around to it. Definitely. I'm always down for listening to new music, as you all know. Monsi Branuevo. Hope I've said that right, Monsi. She asked me what my favourite comfort food is. To be fair, Monty, most of my food, I just eat all the food that I just enjoy, regardless. In terms of sort of like little snacks, like not actual meals, I'm absolutely addicted to mini cheddars. I absolutely love them. I could just eat them all day. Other than that, I would have to say comfort food would have to be, I just love a nice dirty pizza. There's very few toppings that I won't have on a pizza. And yes, I do like pineapple on a pizza. So if you don't do pineapple on pizza, sorry guys. I don't do olives on pizzas, and I'm not a big fan of fish. I do tuna. It's about all it'll be. But that's all of your questions, guys. So thank you very much for contributing. It was really cool to answer those. I will, in the near future, look to doing another one of these. So if anyone's got any questions that didn't get answered, that you'd like to know, feel free to drop it in the comments, and I will go back to the video at some point and I'll make sure I do one for you. But thank you very much for watching, guys. I'm going to get on and do some videos for you. Let's get some new artists featured today. Got plenty to choose from what we've got in currently. But yeah, guys, thank you once again. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you soon. Catch you later, guys.